All right, so I've got the idea of ranking the Cobra Kai seasons. So this is me doing that. I'm so excited to talk about this because I've just finished the series. The finale just happened. Here we go. And just for the record, none of these seasons are bad for me. Some of them have bad moments, but they are all at least good. Very few of them are great in my eyes. All right, so I'm going to rank season 5 in 6th place. This is my least favorite season. It was very entertaining at times, and it was awesome to see like Silver be the main villain. You know, Kreese is now to the side, and Silver's the head villain because I really like the actor who plays Silver. And from what I hear, this guy can actually fight. This guy, when he's on screen, he's huge, like a lot bigger than the other actors. So you already have that physical threat, but he's smart, he's rich. So then you have the threats in the other playing fields, right? That maybe the other characters, it's an uphill battle for always to be fighting against Silver. There's a fly around here, sorry about that. And there's also great character writing that have long been overdue, like Robbie and Miguel finally just coming together, seeing each other's perspective, and becoming brothers, essentially. I think it's one of the better moments, one of the better acted moments from Xolo, where him and Robbie are fighting in season 5, episode 5. We have things like Johnny and Daniel, you know, finally being a team, finally being co-senseis, learning how to do that. There's also the inclusion of Chosen, who gets a lot more screen time throughout the series after the season 5 point, you know, because at the end of season 4, Daniel LaRusso brings him in. And the fights themselves are entertaining in the Sekai Taikai qualifying in the end of the season. And that final episode is a stronger episode of that season, if not the strongest, I would say. But what really went wrong for me in the season was things that just took unnecessary screen time. Things like the teen drama, like, okay, another breakup. How many more? You know, things like that. Okay, so we're also dealing with that. And you know, the Mexico storyline with Miguel it was okay, it was good. It took too long to get to that catharsis, you know, where he sees his dad and it's just not who he thought he was or what he was hoping for. And he just went back to Johnny. The best thing that came out of that was that Johnny and Robbie got that father-son time. You know what I'm saying? After their great moment at the end of season 4. And then building up Kenny to be a villain, it wasn't convincing enough to me because he's like Anthony's age, who's like a little kid, and he's standing up to like these, I mean, I know they're high schoolers, but they're young men playing high schoolers. But here's this little kid wanting to fight against high schoolers. I just didn't buy it. And then at times he could go one-on-one with them. I didn't buy it. This season had too many things that took up too much time, in my opinion. It wasn't necessary. So my 5th favorite season of Cobra Kai is season 4. Now this season had the introduction of Terry Silver, which I was a big fan of. I think he brought on not only a physically imposing and threatening character, but he had the finances, he's got the smarts. So he came at Cobra Kai and our main characters in all of these different angles, and he knew where to poke, and you could tell like it was just such a great performance. I love the way that they brought him in, where he doesn't really have anything else in life, and he's looking for purpose, and he's trying to find it then through karate. Another nice part was seeing Johnny Lawrence and Danny LaRusso starting to be senseis together. But of course, we have that repeated plot line where they just bicker, where they fight again, and they break up, you know, as senseis closer to the end, and they decide they're going to have separate dojos for that tournament in the end. And speaking of the tournament, those fights are some of the highlights of the whole show when it comes to action. We had really good fights. We had like amazing, like what the heck, choreography when it came from Hawk, Miguel, and Robbie. And it was just really entertaining action. A highlight for me that season 4, was Robbie's character and his conflict, where he stands up to Kreese, but he's also trying to be a mentor, not just to the students in Cobra Kai, but more importantly, and I think more personally, to Kenny. I really liked the relationship, and I liked Kenny's character, but it just felt reused. It felt redone. Him getting bullied by Anthony, those, 2 episodes that they gave us focus on that. It was like, okay, you've done this before, Cobra Kai, give me something else. That was a repeated plot with different faces and different characters, and it felt wasted, like wasted time. Another aspect of season 4 that I liked was Hawk's involvement in that season. You know, he's paying the consequences of betraying his old team, but then he's also adapting to this new way, and he gets that championship. You know, he gets that trophy in the end. That was cool, and I do think he deserved it. And of course, at the very end, we have a very emotional and great moment between Robbie and of course Johnny, and we have that relationship take a step forward finally. That was really sweet. And there's great moments throughout season 4. Just some repeated plot lines that I didn't think had to be there. My fourth favorite season in Cobra Kai is season 6. Alright, so season 6 is the only season to have 15 episodes. All the other ones have 10, right? But what season 6 does great is it ends the show. You know what I'm saying? It puts the bow beautifully. So those last 5 episodes, especially those last 3, are really great. But I think they're just so important to the show. I really liked Kwan's character and moments in the tournament, for example, where Miguel is taking on like 2 of them on the platform, 2v1, and he just shows Robbie how it's done, where Robbie fights Kwan, where Kenny comes in. But season 6 had so much teen drama, so much. It wasn't just teen drama, man. It was just drama, like for the sake of it. You know, like it was just not necessary. It was repeated characters clashing, and then another character coming in, giving them a pep talk. Okay, so we're not clashing anymore, but then we're gonna clash again. And it was just so repeated. Things I had seen before. It was nice to wrap up the Kenny and Anthony rivalry finally. Devin and characters like Dimitri were put so much higher than I think they ever should be or that they ever showed in the series. I never thought that Dimitri was as good as Hawk or that Devin was as good as anyone there, to be honest with you. Anyone in the tournament. I think everyone else was a bit better than her. But there was some nice lessons in there with her talk with Johnny. Of course, it just ended the show so satisfying for me, and it has episodes and moments in the earlier sections of the season that were very heartfelt and that I thought really mattered. That conversation that Miguel has with Johnny on the plane, and the tournament itself was entertaining. My third favorite season is ironically season 3. This is one of those seasons where, alright, we had like a huge drop in the last moment. Now we gotta get back up. You know, we just fell face flat. We have to get back up. And in season 3, we see that in Johnny, where he's trying to build his character back up. But he, at the same time, he's trying to help out Miguel. You know, Miguel just broke his back. He can't walk. So Johnny does this thing where he helps him walk, where he builds up his confidence again and he builds up his character, and they both do it for each other, and I think that was very sweet. I liked Robbie's character arc, especially the end where it's revealed to Johnny that he's with Chris, and we got Daniel going to Okinawa and seeing Chosen and seeing Kimiko, and that was nice. That episode was really sweet because it brought a lot of, for me, a lot of humanity for Daniel when he read the letter that Miyagi had written. And it just reminds me of like, damn, like Daniel's just a boy who really, really loved this man as a father, you know? And it was a moment that reminded me of that I felt like I needed throughout the show. So yeah, that was nice. And of course, you know, the finale is very strong in my opinion. I really like the finale. Kreese throughout all of this has been influencing the Cobra Kai students in all the worst ways, and Hawk throughout all of this has had one of the strongest arcs in the show, I believe, where he's seeing Kreese's influence and he's seeing how far he's gotten away from being Eli, you know, we're away from being that good kid. Now he's come to the point where he's broken his best friend's arm. And of course, we have that finale where he redeems himself and he helps out the good people in his life. That was good. One of my favorite moments of the show is when Johnny's speaking to Ali, and it was just really nice. That talk that he was having with Ali, and that whole episode and moment that he had with her and Daniel had with her, and just the writers having the idea of bringing her back, it was great. And it was just to remind Johnny to just stay in the path. Just stay in the path. Stay in the path of redemption. You're doing great. You know, that was sweet. And, you know, that ending to season 3 is very strong in my opinion. It was a very good fight. It wasn't as good as the school one, and I know that's what they were going for, but it was very, very close in my opinion. Alright, so my second favorite season is season 1. Man, talk about rebooting a franchise. They did it. They did it. And season 1 just showed everyone how to do it. They did such a good job. And I love season 1 because it introduces a heart, it introduces a character, and it just goes through the plot in a very refreshing manner. You know, season 1 was a great lesson for Johnny's character, where at the end of season 1, he's seeing how his influence is having on other students and how, in a way, he and his own sensei have to be different. He can't be the same as his old sensei. And he doesn't realize that until the end of season 1, where he says, yeah, I'm teaching no mercy, but I have to teach them that that's not all of that. You know, like there are moments where you can show it, you know? So it was just moments like that. It was Robbie's fight with Miguel, Miguel's building up into this karate black belt, and his confidence and his changing character is great. And of course, that trickles down to characters under him, like Hawk and like Aisha. The love triangle between him and Robbie and Sam was convincing. Johnny and Daniel's and Robbie's, you know, that conflict, very good. Very good stuff. Now, my favorite season for Cobra Kai has to be season 2. I love the scene where Johnny is speaking to Miguel about his past mistakes and how he's pushing him to be better than he could ever be. And I love the scene where, in the end, you just have the school fight. That whole last episode finale is my favorite, if not one of my favorites, of Cobra Kai. The school fight was amazing. That one shot with Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do fighting in the school was so good. And the conflict building up to it between Tori and Sam and Robbie and Miguel, like you could just see it's a bomb waiting to explode. And when it did in that school fight, it was just so cool to see everything. Hawk was just having fun being Hawk and fighting everyone. But one of my favorite moments in the fight is that last scene where Miguel has Robbie in the arm break, and then we flash back to the conversation he had with Johnny about being a better person, about not making the same mistakes Johnny did, and of course, about showing mercy. Even though he's being told otherwise by Kreese, here's this guy who's been there, done that, telling you to show mercy throughout life. And you could see it in Xolo's face, in Miguel's face. That was great acting because you could tell he was so conflicted, and the temptation was there to break Robbie's arm, but he didn't fall into it. And he was a better man. And then the ending to the season it's a tragedy in season 2. I think because it ends on a low for everyone. You know, Miguel's back is broken. Johnny seems to be back to his old habits and seems to be in the lowest of lows, knowing that he was, or at least feeling slightly responsible for what happened, including Daniel's responsibility in that too. And then everyone else as well. Everyone's left in like trauma after that fight. But throughout the season, you see a lot of conflict that I thought was really well written between Johnny and Daniel, and Miguel and Kreese and Johnny, and how when Johnny goes further and further from Cobra Kai for personal reasons, like that great episode where he has with his old Cobra Kai friends, which I thought was a really nice touch of life. You know, he's there with Kreese more often, and he just sees the corruptness of Kreese and how the older ways of doing Cobra Kai and fighting and that perspective of life is just not the way to go. And of course, between him, Sam, Robbie, and Tori, all of that drama, it was really well written. And you could just tell, man, after that party episode, something was gonna happen. And the reason why season 2 is one of my favorites is just Johnny's continuing to have this journey of redemption, and it just kind of gets spat all over his face at the end. And the tragedy in that is, I thought was really well written. But of course, what I loved more is that he bounces back from it, you know? So guys, please subscribe, leave a comment. What was your season rankings? What were your favorite seasons? What were your favorite scenes in Cobra Kai? Talk to me, man. Talk to me. I love the show. Who were your favorite characters? I think mine would have to be, obviously, Johnny. And then from the kids, it would be Miguel and Hawk from season 1 through 4. But I thought they did Hawk dirty after season 4. I really did think that they sidelined him. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.